Hello shoppers, welcome back to Future Fiber. This is a channel where I talk about all the crafty things that I do. It's mostly knitting. Today, because everybody seemed to have generally liked window shopping the last time, I thought I would bring another shop with me knitpicking knits video. Today I decided to focus on a couple of knitwear brands that I like. Well, they don't just make knitwear, but they're just like brands that I generally like. And then some new ones that I found while I was searching for like trendy knitwear brands or whatever. So that's just a list. There's 4 brands that I'll talk about today or look at today. The first one is Doên. Generally, like the mood is like very romantic, cottagecore. But I like their knitwear designs because they tend to lean very classic, very vintage looking almost. The next brand is Babaà. They've also been on my radar for a little bit. Well, mostly because I get all their Instagram ads. A couple of people have actually asked me to take a look at their stuff before. And I think they meant it more like, is this worth it? Can you buy it? And see how it is. But we're just going to be looking it through the internet because I don't want to spend money on... the next brand is Acne Studios. I mean, they are one of those brands that I like to look at every once in a while. Their bags are really cute and I like their knitwear. Tends to be a little bit more experimental shape-wise. So that's why I thought I would put that in here so that we have a little bit of variety. One more brand that I came across while I was just like Googling, and it's Frisson Knits. They are a small brand. They're solely focused on knitwear, but I thought I would include it in here because their pieces seemed like they could be hand knit. You will see that the price ranges are really high. I mean, you can be the judge of if that's justified or not, but therefore I will not be buying any of these knits. It's just like for fun. There's actually another brand that I wanted to include in the video today, Paloma Wool, but I excluded them because none of their models are wearing bras and they're into very airy knits right now. And you know, I'm all about freeing the nips, but I don't want to get demonetized on YouTube. Therefore, no boobs today. Cool. So let's see if we can do this before my laptop runs out of battery. So, Doên, knitwear section. It seems like these are like the two of the same cardigans, but one is long sleeves and one is short sleeves. I know Doên has some pieces that are like hand knit, but these look machine knit because they look a little bit too small and fine to be, you know, hand knit. I really like the lace details, and it seems like I'm curious on like the construction of this because there seems to be seam lines right where the shoulders are. So I wonder if they've knit these panels like almost in like a rag, how you would construct a raglan. I'm not sure though. Okay, one thing about Doên is that they love to put these, I don't know if they shoot film for their photos or if this is just like a post effect that they put on their all of their photos, product photos, but I feel like the grain filter makes it really hard to tell like what actually is the color of their clothes. So that is like one gripe I have with their stuff. They do have like these like plain worn shots that are a little better. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Like these kind of braided details around the edges of the sweaters kind of make it look, I guess that just adds an element of visual detail that since you're going to have these visible seams because this is probably knit panel by panel on the machine and then assembled, you're always gonna have some sort of line where you've joined the pieces together. So this is like one way to make that more decorative, I suppose. And I feel like there's a lot of hand knit patterns that have the same detail too. Like a lot of my favorite things knitwear patterns have these details around like increases, petite knit patterns too. So I have one of these free patterns from, I think it's Rowan, that I had saved on my to knit list for a really long time. So I'll pop it in like in post somewhere, but I feel like this trellis look has a similar vibe. trellis with like lace holes and then, you know, the little pom-poms or whatever. Baubles, sorry, not pom-poms. I don't know how I feel about these like ruffle neck edges, separate ruffle around the neck and then all the way down the button band. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like it doesn't really add a ton to the look. I would have opted for just around the neck. I see why they did it because it's to match the ruffle on the wrist part, but this ruffle down the front I feel like just makes this look a little bit visually cluttered, but that's just like my opinion, you know. Yeah, I like that the edges, the rib edges also have this I guess it's got an eyelet and then some sort of twist detail. I think that's pretty cute too. So maybe I'll try and incorporate that into a garment sometime. It's hard to tell on this model because the sleeves are pushed up, but on this model here, on this shot here, you can see that the wrist part is a little, it comes up a little short. So I would be that would be a deal breaker for me. Like I don't really love bracelet length. So I would rather this be like 3/4, just like way up, way shorter intentionally, or a little longer. But that's just like my personal preference, right? Baby alpaca. Well, it better be. It's $298 and made in Turkey. 50 alpaca, 22% wool. What is PA? 20% PA? Is that polyester? Anybody know what that is? So impact, preferred partner, woman owned or co-owned. Okay, so here's my thing, right? Here's my thing with these brands. I think the most sustainable thing is to not buy anything at all. Not buy anything new. I don't know, Doên recently, not to like shit on this brand, but like, I don't know if they've ever actually said that they're a sustainable brand or like sustainability conscious brand or conscious brand or whatever their wording was, but they recently did a collaboration with Gap. And then, so that, I think that like pissed some people off because they were like, I thought you were supposed to be like eco-conscious and you were doing this with a large manufacturer. So if you're worried about that stuff, then yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, so I thought this and this was like the same cardigan, but I guess the body lace pattern is the same, but the short version Mirabelle cardigan has no ruffles around the neck and then down the whatchamacallit, the button band. I think I like the short version better. I think I like this better because it looks cleaner. It looks easier to wear. They should have just done the same thing with long sleeves. That's my opinion. Oh, I guess this is the motif of the season, huh? They have the Emiliana sweater, which is the same thing, but shorter sleeves again. What's with this? This doesn't look intentional to me. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like this looks like you ran out of yarn and you made it a little short. Like, I feel like it's got to be shorter than this. You know? It's got to be at least like 2 inches shorter than this, or it's got to be all the way long. I guess all of these are made with the same kind of fabric or yarn and 60s inspired. What about this is a 60s inspired other than the lace pattern? I don't know if I agree with that sentiment, but you know, that's what the designer says. Yeah, so this is a raglan. However, I don't know if this is just on this model, but I feel like something about the fit isn't like quite correct. I would almost want this raglan. I would feel like the raglan should sit closer to like diagonally from the neck to the armpit, you know, not like curve around like this. I guess it's because they don't want all that extra fabric up in here in the top of the arm, but I don't know, that's what I would have done. I guess I would have had it come down more like in a straight line rather than having this like curve to it. But there must be a reason for this. Anybody know why? Why do you do that? Okay, so these are just some basic cardigans. Fairchild cashmere cardigan. I think this was like basically the vibe that I was trying to go for when I made this cardigan. This is the cognac cardigan. The red color, I guess, is still in vogue. Like you still see it in a lot of these shopping websites. So yeah. Cashmere turtleneck, once again pretty basic, but once again with the raglan. Anybody know? Then this has to be a design choice. I guess it doesn't matter if I think it looks weird if it is a design choice, but Okay, this is a rib with a little pocket. I'm trying to think who came out with a rib kind of long sleeve recently. The only thing that comes to my mind directly right now is the churros top. And the churros top is, I believe, by the designer Posong Knitting. She's a Korean designer, but I think that could look pretty close to this. Also, I'm sorry if you hear children in the background. Once again, I have neighbors and they have children, and the children must play. They've done the bracelet length yet again. Or maybe his models are just really tall. Okay, blend of recycled cashmere, 50 wool. Okay, so you know, it's all natural fibers or dry clean. Does anyone actually dry clean their sweaters? Now that I've like started hand knitting, I haven't dry cleaned any of my knits ever. Not that I did before, but you know. This cardigan, I feel like it's pretty close to... Okay, so this is not exactly the same, but when I saw this, I was thinking of like the Lunan sweater, tee, question mark, by, yeah, Rebecca from Babaà Knits. And I guess this goes to the last sweater or tee, whatever we looked at too, last knit. I think you could modify that pattern as well to look more like this. Like instead of... For the polo version, like instead of joining in the round, you could just knit straight, like flat down, and then add buttons. And I think it could have a very similar effect. Yeah, I don't know if the pockets really add anything for me. Like, you're not gonna put anything in there. This is just for fun. So you could just have like a patch of rib where you kind of mimic the top of a pocket, I guess, that open pocket flap. And that could add some visual interest, but I don't know if the functioning pockets are really speaking to me. Channel cardigan inspired by 50s. Inspired channel cardigan. What about this is 50s? See, they say all these eras, and I'm not seeing the vision. Well, maybe a little bit on the shoulder, I suppose, but then it would have to be much more cropped, I think, for it to be properly 50s inspired. Once again, that's just like my opinion, but it's kind of hard to see with the navy yarn. But I don't love the proportions on this. Like, I feel like these bobble details are too big, and it kind of makes you look Michelin Man. But if you want something similar that's hand knit, I think the Granny cardigan, it's a Korean designer, I'll put it up here. They have a very similar like shoulder fit where it kind of puffs up a little bit, so I think that could be cool. Oh, this is hand knit. Okay, hand knit alpaca blend. Do you think this is like worsted weight, Aran weight, baby alpaca recycled polyamide? Oh, maybe PA is polyamide. 7% wool. Interesting. Dry clean only. I don't know why you would need to dry clean this. $500. Well, I guess it is hand knit. Like, there was a real person making it in Peru. This one, Dan, how do you pronounce that? This one looks like it's another one of Babaà Knits designs. The cable one. You know what I'm talking about. I think that one would work well for this cardigan. And this one on the right, the Anissa, this one looks a lot like the Knits for Days. Has a very similar cardigan with the little puffs. All right, that's enough of that. So, okay, Doen, we looked through it. As they say, period inspired or vintage inspired sweater designs. I'll leave it to you to judge if it's actually done a good job of taking inspiration from those eras, but yeah, overall not bad. Would I buy anything? No. Let's move on. So let's look at Babaà. I believe all of their stuff is like made with like sustainable wool from like a farm in Spain, and also hand knit ? They definitely have that like chunkier, more rustic look. I feel like if Doen's vibes were more of like, if I were to put them to a designer, I feel like Doên was more like Fable knitwear, and then this designer is more like Kadri and Ozetta, if that gives you the vibe. Or that's like the vibe that I get. Especially with this kind of like oversized collar, like really long collars, really long sleeves, really long ribbing. I feel like this one really looks like the Field Day cardigan, I want to say, or Field Day jacket by Ozetta. It gives a similar vibe. Yeah, okay, so one thing about this brand, even in these pictures, product photos, you can tell that the neckline is standing up away from the shoulders of the model. So I wonder if that's an intentional design choice or if that's something that just happened because of like production. Okay, well, let's click into one of these. A pure wool cardigan. So it is 100% wool. 295 euros. I don't know what that converts to dollars wise, but I think, I don't know, I feel like we just came from Doên, who had mixed materials, and I think they were about the similar price point, so I feel like this makes sense. But these are obviously a little bit more like rustic looking and a little bit chunkier, so it's a little different. But I love the structural look of sleeves that sit kind of crumpled like this, but I wonder about practicality, because if you stretch that all the way out, it will cover like up to their fingers, I think, and I don't know. And I also think like this oversized look is obviously not for everybody. It makes me think, I don't know. You guys let me know. Do you feel like this is knit by hand? Or is it knit using a machine? Well, they're definitely knit in panels. Like the front and the back is in panel, and then it was seamed up the side. So that's we were able to find that out. This is also seamed up the side and on the shoulder bits. This also has a stitching around the neckline, possibly from extra stitching, possibly to make it not stretch out. Okay, this website. I hate the ones where you like hover over it and it zooms in. I don't love those. Okay, so that's cardigan number 11. What's their buttons made out of? They did not tell you. The buttons look a little cheap to me. Like if there were some sort of like shell or whatever, maybe that would have been better, but it just looks like flat. So I don't know if I love that with the overall look of this sweater, but that's just my opinion. I need to stop saying that because this entire video is my opinion. This is their jumper. It's saddle shoulder construction, which I think is cool and different. And the neckline, once again, it has a like extra stitching line. I do think it makes me wonder how heavy these are, because every single sweater, so well, we've only looked at two, but they've had this like extra stitching line. So yeah, I don't love sweaters that are too heavy, like super heavy. Also, I noticed that they don't have any sizing on here. It's one size, but like, what does that mean? Maybe it's on the bottom. Okay, maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at other parts of the... But I like this red. Okay, this is another thing with raglans, right? I don't know if I really love... Like, the sleeve has to be... For this oversized look, yes, the sleeve has to be kind of short. But how will this look, like, when you raise your arms? Your sleeves are gonna be, like, up here. And yeah, the neckline... Okay, I don't think this was intentional. Do you? Like, I think they just like picked up too many stitches. If this was a hand knit, it would have been like you picked up too many stitches around the neckline, and then now your neckline is all woogly boogly. Like if this was my hand knit, I would still wear it, but I would put an elastic around the neckline so that it like tightens up more. But it doesn't even seem like there's room for that here. These stitches look pretty tight. Yeah, so I just think maybe this is a structural flaw. Okay, we have these like kind of like Harlequin diamond ones. Okay, these are like the same. They're all the same. There's not a lot of like fit difference. They're all like kind of large and in charge, and just comes in like a million different colors that are really punchy and nice. The blue. I love the blue. Very cute. But do you see what I mean? That this is like this, the feel and the vibe with the natural fibers and like chunky wool is very like Ozetta coated. I know, you know, like there's so many designers that do like similar things, but yeah, this is like their seasons cardigan maybe. The sleeves are kind of cropped. I guess that is on purpose, but once again, I don't know if I love that. Makes you look like kind of, you grow a little bit too tall for your old clothes, like this here. That's not my favorite. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, not really a ton to say about this brand, honestly. Like, just maybe I've had too many high expectations. There's a lot of clothes. I'm not gonna go through all of this, but maybe I just had too high of an expectation for like what their items were supposed to be. Don't get me wrong, I like this kind of aesthetic, and I have a lot of hand knit pieces that are very similar. It's just I don't know if this is like special enough for me to like not knit this myself versus like purchase. I will only, I guess, really buy a knitwear on this, like if I feel like it's very special. This Harlequin kind of sweater. Yeah, wasn't there a pattern that was similar to this that had this like diamond pattern to it? Or was it checkers? I'm thinking that maybe Vicky Knits had a similar like pattern to it, but that might have been checkers. This is different. I don't know if I've seen this kind of like lattice cross cable before. And these are like the fishtail ones, right? This is different, a little more texture. This is definitely machine knit. Dropped shoulders, long sleeves. Yeah, we get it. You have everything in your shop is drop shoulders. I think maybe it's just because of the distribution of the pattern. What it immediately reminds me of is the Salty Days, I think. But I might look at it and it might not be that close. Yeah, see? Okay, this is a worn photo, right? By a person, and it has wiggly wiggly necklines. What's up with that? This too, the neckline is too big. Maybe they should do like a fold over collar. Is this folded over? No, this is not folded over. I don't get it. Like, okay, well, enough of Babaà. I think we've seen enough. So, big, punchy colors, basic shapes in a million different colors is basically what we're getting at. Oh, okay. This is, you know, pie camisole. Yeah, pie camisole. So that's where we'll leave Babaà. Overall, you know, shop with good basics. Like, I feel like these model shots don't really accurately represent how this will look on you, just because like, not just because they're models, but just because they don't have a variety in sizing. So it's like, if you're shorter even, it's not going to look like this. If you're at least a little bit different size from these models, I feel like it's not really going to be an accurate, you know, representation of what you're getting. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about this. Let's look at Acne Studios. And right off the bat, they're hitting us with the shrugs. The Terminator shrugs, or like ninja shrugs. Like, there's definitely a character on Naruto that has this, that is wearing this. Oh, these are from the runway show. They're a little bit more out there, I guess. They're not ready to wear. But we'll just go through that. Those are 2 loops just sewn together. But I feel like even if it's, I'm not gonna buy this, but let's talk about it. Even if it's 2 loops, like done, like put together like this, don't you think they could have done something to make it not pull like this? Couldn't you have like notched it or like shaped this part a little bit better so that this rib puff section, arm donut section doesn't like pull from the center like this? I feel like for a brand that is charging $800 for this, it's kind of inexcusable. So like, imagine if your boobs are any bigger than this, and then you're gonna like, this entire section will be like exposed. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they could have done better with this. Yeah, like, cause these donuts are touching each other on the flat lay, so of course it's gonna pull. I don't know. Like, especially paired with the skirt, because a skirt is supposed to be like seamless, like vertical lines, and then it's pulling away from that as like these donuts are, you know, warping around your torso like that. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe I don't know fashion. Maybe it's Maybelline. So, yeah, the large is sold out already. Who bought this? Okay. Oh, cats. Very cute. A plus already because cats. Are these duplicate stitch? Cat jacquard animations. Animations. Cut to a regular unisex fit with drop shoulders. Okay, whatever. The sweater itself is whatever. But okay, I'm seeing a lot more like rolled edge necklines and hems recently, which I think is interesting. So, yeah. Maybe that is a detail to look out for this season. And that looks like a screen print. It is a screen print. They printed over a sweater? I don't know. That's a choice. That is a choice. Oh, my Mac will... I gotta go faster. My Mac is gonna shut down otherwise. Okay. Yeah, lots of open work again. This definitely looks like Le Pole has similar vibes, I think, as far as designers go. I think they're definitely inspired by these like more experimental brands, which I think is cool. Cardigan with a sprayed finish. It kind of just looks like you rolled in dirt a little bit. It's like brat rolled in dirt. I don't know. This... Oh. Yeah, I feel like they've taken a lot of inspiration from like fashion, like knitwear designers that are just like, you know, creating their own custom pieces on Instagram. Like this looks very similar to a designer that I saw relatively recently. I'll have to track it down. Like this too, like this lacework detail. Keyhole shrug. Oh, it's a cardigan and a tank. Well, okay, you get a little more variety in that, and you don't normally see that in these things. But yeah, okay, pink. This pink is cute. Distressed. I don't know, something about like distressed cardigans or distressed sweaters kind of makes me sad, because I'm like, I know that it's intentional, but like, how do you secure all these so that it doesn't like fall apart on you? Like, I don't know. Yeah, these aren't very interesting. Mohair. When will mohair trend die, do you think? Like, we're still seeing it after all these years, and I'm not hating on the mohair, but I feel like knits in general, like knitwear and knit tops, are in vogue regardless of season. I don't know how much of that is affected by me just being a knitter, but I feel like it's still kind of in vogue. But I wonder if like certain fibers will drop out of favor like relatively soon, because 80s or 90s was a lot of like eyelash yarn. Maybe that kind of stuff, that kind of cycle will happen to mohair. So just like food for thought, I suppose. Does this come in sizes? It does. That's surprising. I thought they would just have one size for this. But I guess what else is really there to do with this? Okay. Nylon, wool, mohair, cotton. The more expensive a brand is, the less their fiber quality is. The more questionable the fiber quality gets, I feel like. Like Louis Vuitton isn't using 100% wool necessarily. I think most people in general don't really care about fiber content. Okay, last brand is Frisson Knits. And they are definitely a small brand. They have about 40 to 50,000 followers on Instagram. And I think most of their stuff are custom and pre-order. So they're not producing very large quantities. And I chose them because their stuff looks hand knit. Like, it looks like stuff that I could, knit with my hands. And I thought these v-necks were like pretty cute. They're not too chunky where it looks kind of like stupid, no hate to Hope Macaulay, but I feel like that kind of knit garment is just like totally impractical for like everyday wear. And these kind of smaller knitwear brands run the gamut from like machine knit panels that are like kind of like structured and sewn together into very sheer see-through like experimental knits, and then like all the way on the chunky side where you have like Hope Macaulay super large cardigans very like bubble pop looking. But like this, I feel like strikes a nice balance. That's why I kind of like this brand when I saw it. Once again, they are kind of one size, but they do seem to do custom, and they're like, yeah, hand knitted in New Zealand. Yeah, I mean, as us knitters, like we know that we could, you know, probably make something like this, but it's just cool to see something that's kind of like in between, I suppose. Okay, Francesca chocolate. This kind of looks like that Nina Knits cardigan that has these like cables running up the side. Let's see it on this. Yeah, definitely looks similar. So I would say that is a very similar pattern that you could look into. I think this is knit up with chunky yarn, kid mohair. Of course they will not say, but yeah, seems to be chunky. I can't imagine this will be so hot if it's like 90% mohair. Oh my god, I can't imagine wearing this, but it's very airy and cute fuzzy vibes. So okay, cuff bolero. This is very like the cuff fringe puffy, looks very like 70s. I love this fit. I think it looks really cute paired with like similar color tops. You could probably use it as, yeah, like a going out outfit. What's the like 70s penny lane? Is that what they're called? Penny lane jackets. Kind of has that visual to it. So yeah, a lot of a little more on like worsted chunky weight side stuff. That is, I think the coolest part is that it's made with like wool and fibers from New Zealand, which I think is cute. Okay, this has kind of like a what are these called? Open work, lattice work, drop stitches, loose stitches. I mean, this effect is achieved by just like switching needles sizes, right? In between these stripes. So I think this could be a cute detail that you could add to any basic sweater. Could also probably achieve the look by like having two yarns that are the same color. So I think I'm thinking of a pattern from Panel Story that has, it's a top, but it uses like a boucle yarn and then a thin like fingering weight yarn to have these like open net like look. So I think that's cute. Those were just some things that I wanted to look at. Getting some inspiration for fall. Will I knit any of these that are kind of similar? Maybe. Will I buy any of these? Definitely not. But it's always fun to window shop. So, hope you guys had fun. Let me know if you have shopped or heard of these brands before, and hopefully I didn't throw shade to anything that you actually own. Hopefully everybody's having a good day wherever you are, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye!